Hi, my name's James Ramsey, and I'm Senior Product Manager for the source code and Gitaly groups at the create stage of the DevOps lifecycle here at GitLab. I've got two features that I'd like to highlight to you that we're going to be working on in the 12.7 release of GitLab, which will be released on January 22nd. The first is to add a new mode to the merge request diff. So I'll quickly open the issue for this improvement. The merge request allows you to see the changes that are being made and proposed to be merged into another branch. And the comparison view shows a diff summarizing the changes. It, by default, shows a comparison between your branch and the target branch, often master or develop. But there are some situations where the way the diff is calculated can result in a confusing result to be showed in that tab. To provide a bit of context and backstory, there are a number of different ways that Git supports showing a diff. The way we do it is using the Git Diff command, target, 3 dots, source. So target being the target branch, source being the source branch or the feature branch. And what the 3 dots symbolizes is calculating the diff based on the most recent commit in the feature branch and the common ancestor commit between the source and target branch. And so that could be quite a while ago, potentially a week or two ago when the feature branch was created. And sometimes what happens is over a period of time, master branch progresses quite significantly. And what might happen is the developer merges the master branch or the target branch back into the source branch to bring those changes into their feature branch before then merging back into that same branch. When that happens, if you're doing comparison using the 3 dots, using the merge base, that will show not only the changes you've authored in your feature branch, but also the contents of that merge commit from master into the source branch or your feature branch. And that can result in a pretty confusing diff. And so what we've been working on over the past couple of releases is this feature called a merge ref. So we create merge refs already, one for the head and one for the merge result. And the merge result one allows us to show a much more useful diff in this situation. And so in 12.7, we'll be adding a very first minimal version of this diff mode to the merge request interface. It'll be available in the drop down here. Currently, you select the latest version, that's your feature branch, and you can compare it with the target branch or something else. We'll be adding a new option so that there'll be the target branch head as well as the current version, which is the merge base. This new version will not be shown by default. You'll have to select it, and it will also not support commenting in 12.7. And this is because there's quite a lot of work involved in this, and so we're trying to take small steps, small iterations towards this feature. But this is a really big improvement, and will be you can follow the epic to see future iterations and see we'll be going over coming releases. So this is really exciting, handling an important situation, making sure the diff is really accurate to make sure that reviews are efficient. The second feature I'd like to highlight is scoping merge request approvals to protected branches. Over the past year, we've been working to improve the configuration of merge request approval rules, as well as other merge request related settings, so that different types of organizations and teams can accurately make sure the right people are reviewing merge requests. Make sure that a minimum number is reached from the right number of groups. So someone from back end, someone front end, someone from security. We've added code owner support over the last 12 months so that you can specify dynamically who should review it based on the file paths changed in the merge request. But one thing we've noticed and heard from a lot of our customers is that as they adopt these new features and make their merge request rules more strict and substantial, like the number of approvals required, there are a bunch of situations where merge request approvals aren't needed. Merging from feature branch to feature branch is one example. Probably no approvals are required in that situation. But also release branches, for example, require different sorts of approvals to the default branch. So if you're merging from master into a release branch or from release branch to release branch, that code should already be trusted because it's in a protected branch. So if it's entering via master, it's already met the quality controls that you've set. And so different kinds of approval rules are required. In order to solve this problem, reducing the amount of approvals required when they're not needed and allowing stricter rules when they are needed, we're allowing merge request approval rules to be scoped to protected branches. In a recent release, we allowed code owner approval requirements to be scoped to protected branches. And so this will be consistent with that and allow us in the future to streamline the settings into a new unified interface that we're beginning to think about building. And so this is a mock-up that we've built where you can see it's very similar to the current approval rules interface, but there'll be a new section where you can select from the drop-down which protected branches a rule will apply to. So this means that you can just put all your protections on the master branch if that's the branch you're using for continuous deployment in your releases, and any other merge requests that developers create can just exist without any approval requirements. So you can add the strict enforcement of your policies and controls where you need them, but then provide flexibility and freedom to your engineers in all the other important workflows that happen on a day-to-day basis. So these are really two very meaningful improvements. Scoping merge requests to approval rules to protect branches should provide really immediate benefit to lots and lots of customers in 12.7, while adding the minimal merge ref diff mode is really the first iteration in a number of iterations where we're going to be making this new improved diff available to everyone. So stay tuned for further updates in upcoming releases as we continue to improve this feature. And also a brief update on the state of Gitaly HA, which is one of the big projects that we're working on in the Gitaly team. We're continuing to work on replication and tracking replication state in the database, and we'll be doing regular demos of the failover in our demo environment to test that. And we've also started rolling out some small iterations of Gitaly HA, particularly the prefect proxy, into our production environment to begin testing that at scale. So we're continuing to work towards a March 22 minimal version that we'll be hoping to make GA in late March. So that's the progress from the Gitaly team, which is moving forward every single release. So lots of exciting work happening in the source code and Gitaly teams. And that's it for the 12.7 kickoff call for the source code Gitaly groups. Have a wonderful holidays and New Year's. See you in 2020.